how many of you guys work in a team? Like, it's more of you, one and two people, three people.
Sort of.
Okay, sort of. Okay, how many of you have to communicate your work with other people and kind of interact with it, get feedback? Okay, so this is one of the things that I have run into. The biggest issue that I have had with my clients is communication and feedback back and forth. It tends to be one of the most tedious things because you go out and shoot something for them and you do a first cut and send it to them because they're in a rush to get it back, and it takes them 2 weeks to get back to you with the comments. And then they'll make a list. Sometimes they just write it on paper and scan it and send it over, and you have to decipher what exactly do they meant, or how the heck am I supposed to work with this? Or sometimes they just make notes and don't put the time code. So where am I supposed to make this change? I don't know this whole video by in and out, so I need to figure out a way. Well, guess what? That happens to be one of the biggest industry issues that has been with freelancers and with professionals as a whole. The way to try to communicate as a team, making changes, being able to make exact changes, and be able to make the communication more efficient. So this is where it comes in, frame.io. That's in fact the URL. So if you go to www.frame.io, this is what you get. Now, it is, I'll tell you right now, it is a monthly payment or yearly payment subscription that you have to pay for this thing, but believe me, it's worth every penny. If you are into making movies, making videos, if you have to have somebody else interact with that piece of with that video or that piece of work that you're working on, the $20 a month or less that you're gonna pay for one of the subscription, it is worth it, and I will show you why. I wanted to show you how it interacts with. I edit in Premiere, but it's not necessarily only in Premiere. It will interact with Premiere. It will do After Effects. It also works with Final Cut Pro and something else, I think. One more, but those are the ones to me that are at this point relevant. Right here. Now, it will integrate with the Slack, for those of you Slack users. And also, it will automatically upload stuff to Vimeo if you like to publish that way. Now, here's the thing. I will give you a little tour, and then I'll show you a little bit of how this thing works. The coolest thing that I have found, not the coolest one, because there's a lot of cool features. But one of my favorite features is that when I take a piece of video, shoot it, I'm editing in Premiere, and I have a cut and I want to send to my client. All I have to do is from Premiere for the timeline, I can go into their module right inside Premiere and says, upload this cut to Frame.io. And will automatically upload it to this little space. On your account, you can create folders that you can do for each one of your projects or your clients, and then this is what it looks inside of a folder. Now, I will show you later how this looks to your client, but basically this is my view. This is what I look at. So when I upload something to Frame.io, it goes into this folder that I told it to. On this one, this is just a little pro bono folder. So here's a couple of things that we've done. And the way that it works is that you can go from here, just double tap on it, and you can play the video. Now, I don't know how well this will play. But here's where the cool thing comes in. We have playback. We have the timeline right here going. But here, we have a place that we can make a comment straight up. So say, I can pause that right there and said, you know what? I don't like this shot. And if you notice, I'm gonna close this real quick here. It automatically put my comment right there. Now, it also has the timeline to where that comment is. So when I get it, I can go, which shot you don't like? Well, guess what? It's the one at 3:19. So I can go back and see that shot and cut it out if I need to. If it's somebody that doesn't, that is not relevant to the project, so I don't care if you like the shot or not. The client said that they wanted it, so they keep it. So, but which has happened before. Now, one of the greatest things about this tool on this end is that it not only allows you to communicate well with your clients, but it allows you to keep track of the things that have changed. Because sometimes you're working in a group and you always have your alpha and you have your minions. Well, sometimes the minions want to make changes, but the alpha says no. Well, you still have to listen to all of them. All the comments stay here. And if somebody comes back and says, hey, I said I didn't want this piece of video there, you can go back and refer to say, well, guess what? The boss says that that's what they want, so that's what they get. You know?
And it's all in one place.
And it's all in one place. Now, here's something also very cool. We have this comment there. I'm gonna keep playing. I say, you know what? That, put on a comment here. This shot is noisy. Whatever. There's the other shot. Here's, not only keeps track of the times, but it also keeps track of who made those comments. So whoever's looking at this knows it was Melqui that wrote that. So for good, bad, or worse, that stays on the record. So I'm on the record, I had to do that. Now, let's say, okay, we're done with this one. And I'm gonna go back. What happens is when, and I apologize because I cannot plug in my laptop, but when that happens, automatically, I get an email that says, Melqui just made a change to this video. And I say, okay, so I'll go to my computer, open my Premiere, and automatically Premiere is connected to Frame.io, and those two comments that came into, that you put in here, automatically come into your timeline as markers. So you don't even have to go and try to guesstimate. You can go in and right-click on Frame.io inside Premiere and it says, download comments as markers, and it will put them into your timeline. And it will synchronize that timeline with Frame.io. So as it's playing, it goes to the marker and says, I don't like that clip. You know exactly where that clip is. You can take it out. That saves us a bunch of time. That saves you guessing which clip is he talking about, or she. And it automates a lot of what you're trying to do in making you a lot more efficient as a creator, as an editor, as a filmmaker. Now, I will show you things. So let's say what happens when you have made, let's say I made those changes. I took that clip out and fixed that other noisy clip. What happens? Well, guess what? I make those changes, I re-render, and I push it back up to Frame.io. Well, what the client will see, let's look for something here. What the client will see is something like this. You see that 4 there? One thing that this program also does is it keeps track of your versions. So I made a change, I upload it back. Now they have, in this case, 4 versions that we have gone through of changes back and forth. So you don't have to worry about having to save those. Personally, every time that I was editing and a client asked me to change something, I would have to copy that timeline, put it somewhere, name it something else, so I can make sure that I was the old one and start working on the new one. And you end up with, a bunch of stuff and your timeline just get convoluted. Well, this helps you organize. Go ahead.
So with all of the saved full videos, anytime that you make a change in the video, then so does that not fill up your memory that much?
It does and it doesn't. And here's why. Well, you have the capability to tell it, I just want you to upload this video at this resolution. And that way you keep, because this is all web-based, so you know the compression is going to be ridiculous anyways, but you want to make sure that it still looks good. So I at least will do either a 720 or a 1080 upload, and then I will deliver everything else, either 4K or 6K, whatever the client wants for this specific project. But when it comes down to this, you're uploading your videos at 720, and you still see that. Wait for a second. It doesn't look as it doesn't look as bad for being 720. It's something that you're looking on the web. Now, go ahead.
How many people can edit the same video at one time?
Edit it?
Yes.
Well, you as an editor, you'll be working on your own machine. Now, if you want to do group edit, that's a whole different feature that goes through Premiere. Premiere has a feature called group edit that you can, in fact, be working on the same timeline at the same time. Hopefully within the same building, because it takes plenty a lot of bandwidth to work on multiple videos, you know, especially if you have a high resolution video. But let's say that we're editing a basketball game, for just an example, and you're working on the first quarter, I'm working on the second quarter, he's working on the third quarter, he's working on the fourth quarter. And we can all be on the same timeline editing the whole thing, and then we'll fix, you know, render it together. Now, when it comes down to this part of it, you have multiple people that can comment on this at the same time. It doesn't matter. The people that, well, will depend how many people will comment on this is to how many people you send the link for them to see it. And I will show you here in a minute how that looks. But yeah, if you are talking about how many people can comment, as many people as are part of your team. But anyways, going back to the compression part of it, you know, 720 it's not going to look bad, even 1080. Frame.io has an app, it's just for iPhone right now, that you can do all this from your phone or your iPad. So let's say you're on the road, you're in the middle of you're not doing the editing, but you're doing the commentary, or you're the client. The client can go here within the app, and they can look at your video, they can make comments to the video, and all those videos markets will still come back to you. Doesn't matter where you're at, and you'll come back to Premiere. So that's one feature that I really like. Other features like we see here, we got the 4 versions. You can come back here and you can go back and look. I can review back my versions, and you can compare them if you want to. But like, I want to show you here. No, in fact, we need to go to version 2 so we can see the comments. Okay. So if you see these dots down here, these are all the comments, and we have 2 different people making comments, and they made 11 comments. And you can see them here on the side. You have Jessica and you have Elizabeth making comments on things that they want to change on this specific video. This was the first one of a series that we've been shooting since last year, and the first one was hard. Like, you know, like everything, every time you do something for the first time, it takes a lot of time to just tweak it and make sure that it goes well. So anyways, these were comments, and they just put them in on the timeline. Now, let's say I want to go back to my 4th. This is the last one here. And I want to let's say that I want to share this with somebody so they can review one of these videos. So what you would do, and I will take back to this one. You would come here and say, you know what, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to share it. And I want to send either a review link or a presentation. Now, there's a difference. The review link basically sends you a link on your email that says click here and you can review this this project that Melqui is working on. And I'll show you here that in a second. Or the presentation, basically it sends a nice little formatted website, a link to a website with your name on it, your logo, and with the presentation of the video. No room for analyzing, no room for changing anything. All they're doing is, here's the final product, look at it, tell me you approve it, we're done. And that way you have 2 ways to present your work. One of them, and they both look very professional. And I will show you now. I'm gonna save myself a review link here. So, and also, you know, do you wanna send one video or do you wanna send them all? I'm just gonna send one of these ones. Select that one. There, it generates a link, bless you. And then I'm gonna copy that. Okay, so here's the video, here's the email. So, excuse me, this is what your client will see with a very eloquent message that you send them and say, here, check my work. And they click on that, and this is what it, if it's the first time that they are working with Frame.io, it gives them a nice little tour. So it's like you don't have to try to sit down with the client and explain to them, this is how this works. The first time you send them a link, all they have to do is watch that little video. And you might want to give them heads up, say, hey, we're working with this platform, please watch the video. It takes just, you know, about a minute. Say, okay, I'm ready. And here is basically the same layout that we had earlier, but now this is only with one video, which is the one I sent earlier, right up there, that one. And you'll play it, and then you can leave comments right here. So the client saves the comment. Comment is there. And they can move on. Now, see how you also know that you're editing version 1. So that way, when the client is seeing it, they're like, okay, which part of this is we're working on? It will always bring the latest version up. So you don't have to worry about somebody editing, you know, you're making changes on one version and then somebody making changes on the other one. It always will bring out the latest version that you have that you're working on. Now, if you physically want to go back and compare, well, on this one, we don't have any more versions. But if you want to go back and compare, says, what is it that we changed from that one to this one? You can go back and look. The client can also go back and look. Excuse me. So, right. Now, also, another cool thing, I keep saying that, is that when the client is happy, then they can change the status. So, allow you to know where you're sitting at, where you're at with this project. So, in this case, it's in progress. Needs review means like, okay, you need to go back and tell me what you really want. Or, okay, yeah, it's approved, it's done. So at that point, let's say it has been approved. And that's all the client has to do. Let me get out of here. You don't even have to hit save or anything like that, because as soon as that change was made, let's see, that was at just now at 0.5 seconds. If I go back here to this video, to my, and go open this one, you can see that that change is already there.
It makes the change without you doing it?
Yeah. As soon as the client makes a comment, automatically pushes it out to my module. So I know that there's something there that I have to go do. Yeah.
All right, so you've made your video and you've worked with the 3 people on the client's end and you've made revisions and now you're on version 12 and they need to show to their boss.
Mm-hmm.
And their boss gets version 12. Does their boss see 12 versions of comments?
No. Here's the thing. Let's say, okay, video is done, it has been approved, right? So now we're gonna send it to the boss. Said, okay, it's time for the men to see it. So we're gonna come here. We're gonna go to share, but we're going to share a presentation instead of sharing a review link. So this is what your presentation is gonna look like. You can change what it looks like here on the side, color-wise and stuff along that line. At this point, I don't want to change anything. I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm going to copy this link over, and I'm going to email it out to the boss. So we're going to go here. Let's say.
You can still make comments though as
The boss will not be able to, if you send it as a presentation mode, there's no comments. This is just for you to view it. Yeah.
So basically, the boss would have to email you specifically to say.
Yeah. If
they had a major concern.
Well, at this point, the boss should have seen it because you wouldn't think that the video would have gotten approved without him saying, yeah, it's okay. Now, all we're doing is basically sending the final copy without all the other crap around it to say, okay, this is one, yeah.
So what's the advantage of using presentation versus review link?
I'll show you here in a second. So I'm gonna send this over. And we're gonna go to Gmail. Here's the final version. And that's what presentation mode looks like. Clean, slick, and this is for their viewing purposes. Here's what happens, and this happens to me often. When it comes down to it, you're working with a team, and you have to listen to what the team has to say, and they have one person that makes the decisions. Well, that person within that department makes a decision, this is approved. Now we have to show it to the board of directors, we have to show it to this other person, we have to show it to this and that and the other. Well, we don't want to show them everything else. We want to show them the final product, something clean that they can go back and say, okay, I'm in my conference room, and guys, this is the video that we got, you know, this is what we spent the last 20 grand that we had on the budget. Ta-da! That's the main difference. Also, on presentation mode, you're able to allow them to download the final version at a high resolution. So let's say that they just want this delivered as a 1080, which is the highest that you can upload to Frame.io. Then you can upload the last version, you can upload it as a high resolution, and then they can download it from there directly. So you don't have to worry about trying to email a 3 gig file or trying to Dropbox it and give somebody the share and somebody's not getting it right, or trying to put on Google Drive, you know, done. Here, and in fact, I can do this under I can enable downloads right there. I can close that. If I refresh this, there. So,
You wouldn't need to resend it.
nope. You can
just need to refresh their screen.
they can they can click on the link again, or they can just refresh their screen. Now we have a download button. Now you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to send that link again, which is great. So you don't have to worry about it. You can make changes. I can go back and change the colors of this, what this is going to look like, and they already have the link. And I can tell them just go ahead and click on that link again. Not only has their colors that they want, but also I can put their logo right up there, give a video a nicer little name, customize or whatever for what they're going to see, and it will look a nice and clean presentation to them. Yeah.
Okay, so if we have like 3 people working on a show that we put together, when we all sit there and say we approve it, now you can take that and all 3 people can get it on 3 different screens in this mode.
Yes.
And that way we can all 3 see it.
Yep.
In the presentation mode.
Yep. Yeah, you can send that link to 300 people and 300 people will see it. And same thing with the review part of it. You have this whole group, let's say we have a video that we all need some input on. Well, and we're not gonna move it forward until every single person have said something about it. You can send that review link to anybody you want, and it will keep track of the people that have put in their comments. And then once everybody's done, then we can go back and make those changes and make a final and send it to everybody, and everybody is able to see the approved version of it, the nice and clean version of it. Yeah.
Can you restrict who approves it?
Yes. You can restrict to team members if you want to. You can restrict it by email address, which is part of the advanced, how you call it, settings. But yeah, you have like here, you can have people join your team, and depends if you end up jumping into this package, depends which package you choose, That's how many team members you can have. Now, team members is different than clients. Team members are people that are in fact working with you. Like, so Scott can come in, he can log in and he'll see everything that is in here. And he can go in and work on different products. Now, projects, some of these ones that you see locked, that means that those are projects that I'm working on my own that are not public to anybody else. So that way you can separate things. Like if you have team members, it's like, okay, I want you working on these things, but I don't want you to work on this. Don't worry about that. You don't have to worry about it. They don't even see those. The ones that have a lock on it, they won't even see it because they're password protected for me. Yeah.
I have 2 questions. What the hell did you do before this? Were there a lot of sticky notes?
There were a lot of notes, yeah, and a lot of paperwork and a lot of emails going back and forth. A pain. For, like I said before, things that you will not want to keep track of.
Right.
So.
And then how did you hear about it and when?
I got fortunate enough that I know the guys that made this program. I got to meet them over at NAB, which is one of the reasons why I love going to that show. But yeah, there's a couple guys that had started it, and then a couple guys that I know came in and invested into it. And it started about 3 years ago. And we got into it from the ground floor, and we kind of beta tested and kind of look around and play with it, and couldn't say anything nicer about it because it's a saver. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the client is new, and he says to you, do I have to download a special program onto my computer?
Yeah. Nope, you don't. It's all web-based.
And then he says, will this cost me anything to use your system?
Nope. You as the editor, or as I'm the one that deals with all the cost. The cost comes on me. Now, yes, anytime that I do a project, obviously that's part of the things that I built into my, into my budget. But yeah, the client does not have to acquire any more.
So you're actually making it a lot easier for the client
Right.
to get his product.
Right. This is value added. This is something that makes it more attractive for them to work with me because they know it's going to be an easy communication. A lot of the problems that you will run into this business are miscommunications and misspellings in my part, but I'm working with that. Yeah.
How much would you say this has sped up your production time?
My workflow, a lot. A lot, because I can be working on multiple projects at the same time, and as soon as somebody makes a comment on it, I can jump onto that program, make that quick change within reason, render it, send it back, and then go back to working on the other thing as they review the next version. So I can be working on 2, 3 things at once, and then before I could do that, the only problem was that, let's say that I would send a video out, I'll send 2, 3 videos out on Monday, and I will have to see those on hold for most of the week because the changes will not come in. Some might come in trickling on Wednesday, some come in trickling maybe Friday, and then some come in trickling, like if this happened once and it just aggravated the crap out of me. I had like 4 projects we're working on. We're on a deadline, and then we had sent the project out, what we thought it was a final version of 3 out of the 4, send them out on Monday. Monday morning, first thing in the morning, video links went out on Dropbox with a nice little email. Here's your link. Please review this. Let me know as soon as possible so we can meet our deadline. Monday went through. Tuesday went through. Wednesday went through. Thursday went through. Nothing is happening. Friday morning, I get 5 emails with reviews for 3 out of the 4 videos. And they want them all done by 5 o'clock on Friday. I'm like, how? And that's miscommunication. If I would have something like this at that point, I could have said, hey guys, because here's something that I like. When you send a link to a client, you can see not only the comments, but how many times they have viewed it.
Oh.
So if I send you a link on Monday, and Wednesday comes along and I can see you haven't even looked at it, I'm not touching your crap until next week because I got other things to do. You don't care? I don't care. You see what I mean? So this at least give me a little, it's like, okay, well, somebody's commenting on it. Somebody looked at it, they put some comments. Okay, so they're waiting on somebody else. So therefore, we can keep, waiting on this. I won't put it on the back burner. But the bottom line is, as long as there's communication going back and forth, then we can keep moving forward. Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many different desktops can you have this application open?
What do you mean?
Can you have 3 different desktops working on those 3 different things at one time or no?
Yeah. This part of it will be how beefy is your computer, basically. Because this is basically counts, here, I'll show you. This basically counts just as a one tab that I have open here. I have a couple more open here, email and, and this is an iCore, an i5, so this is not a really powerful machine and still running fine, so.
What system requirements does that program require?
Those are opens, ideally speaking, Google Firefox. Those 2 browsers are ideally speaking what you want to work with. As long as you can run those 2, you can run this.
Because it's all web-based.
Correct. It's 100% web-based, yeah.
What's the licensing for AIM-IO?
Good question. In fact,
$17 a month.
here is, I'll show you on my account.
You looked it up?
Is that for each computer or just?
I'd say it's a little work.
Here. So you can do by, see if you can do it by the year or you can do it by the month.
That's per user?
Yeah. That's, for example, in my case, I'm on this one right here. That is not that and definitely not that. Don't need that. This I have found that is good middle of the road for me because it allows me to have, I can have, I think it's 25 collaborators. That's what they call clients, are collaborators. So basically, I can have 25 people that I allow them to come into my stuff and look at my stuff in the back end of it. I can send this link to whoever people, how many I want, and it doesn't matter. Well, they want to make sure that I don't have too many of them just coming into the back end and logging in as users, as master users, yeah.
And as you close out projects, new spots open up. So
Right.
You've got a maximum of 20, whatever.
Well,
you
and
don't want just 26 clients a year. You want to be able to.
not only that, but here's my biggest problem is this. Space. They give you 50 gigs to work with. Now, it takes a little bit to fill up that, but as soon as you start, filling it up, you're gonna have to start doing some cleanup. Now, something that these guys are pretty cool about is that, like, every time I log in right now, in the top bar says, hey, you're over 95% of your usage, upgrade. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna upgrade. But let's say that I go over my quota of 50 gigs and I have a huge project to throw in there, it's 10 gigs, and I'm at 47 already. They'll let me upload it, and they'll still let me work with it. But they'll say, hey, please take care of this within a week. If not, we're gonna have to delete some of your stuff. And they won't go out and start throwing stuff out, but they do give you a warning and give you enough time to just get your house cleaned up and get your stuff together.
That's good to know.
So, yeah.
Don't freak out.
Any other questions so far? There we go.
Melqui, I can see where you, and anyone that uses this, not only can do things faster, but you can make more money.
Yep. That's the bottom line.
I mean, that's the whole thing, and it's easier on your brain, so you can use it for the creative stuff,
Yep.
and not this BS.
Well, it's all part of the fun.
All
Yeah.
those little
Yeah.
notes and.
Yep.
Well, we certainly did
Oh.
enjoy your
thank you.
speech. I'm so glad you came. This is a certificate of presentation for you
Well, thank you.
from us.
Well, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Don't
it.
stay away too
Oh,
long now.
no, I tried to come. The problem is I'm teaching. I'm trying to be like Tim. I'm teaching a
And he's
class.
trying to be like you. Ay.
I'm teaching a class at Ivy Tech on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's one of the reasons why I can't go to NAB, and that's one of the reasons, like, I let my class out early today because I wanted to be here. So,
Good.
but yeah,
Well,
I'll try to be
glad
around.
that you came.
Thank you for having
We
me.
took a longer break.
I appreciate that. You had a question?
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
So, you have your license or whatever, how many computers, like Comcast, you can have 4 TVs, but how many computers can you have under your license? Is there a set number or?
As long as you can open a web browser, you can be, like right now I'm logged into this. This is not even my computer.
Okay.
So like I can jump on a client's computer and go, oh, hey, let me make this quick change for you. Jump in, log in, and save the project. So as long as you have internet access, it doesn't matter how many places you have it open. Yeah.
How long have you been using this?
About 3 years since it first came out. Yeah.
And you say it's kind of paid for itself, it seems.
Oh, it does. I mean, hands down, it has paid and then some. Yeah. I have no problem saying that, hands down. Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
Can you explain it all over again since I just got here?
Watch the video.
The magic of video, yes,
And
I can replay that.
the beauty of it is it works for video, it also works for photography. So you can do the same thing when it comes into photography. You can upload your pictures and have your clients review them and give you notes on them. So, anybody else?
Thanks a lot, man.
Okay, yeah.
You ever use this for actual films?
Uh,
I mean,
for a couple
I mean,
shorts,
it's,
yeah.
As opposed to your client who's doing small little
Yeah.
commercials doing an actual film.
This one right here is a short. You guys know Barbara. Deborah. Yeah. So, well, and Steve is in it. So we shot this literally almost 3 years ago.
Oh, vampire.
No, this one is the pitch. And
This,
we did a rough cut. And then I sent it to Barb, and then Barb made all these notes right here, and you can see them there. And then I made some changes, and then we kind of hold off. Because there's a couple of things that we needed, there's a couple of scenes that we needed to shoot, but somebody over there had a broken foot. He couldn't drive. So we had to put that on hold. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, this is, it doesn't matter the type of video, and in fact, Scott, which was supposed to be here, uses this a lot with us because when Scott and I do a lot of interviews, what we end up doing is I'll set up the raw footage, put it here, and he will go and pick the key parts of the story that he likes. And then I'll bring it back and I'll re-edit it and do another cut and send it back to him. We'll look through the story. And then we used to have to sit together for hours at a time in the same location at my house and just edit these interviews. Now it has come down to that we'll have 2 or 3 days back and forth on Frame.io and then go to my house and sit there for an hour. And half hour is that is drinking beer, and the other half hour is just finishing up the project. Because it's a lot faster now. By the time we get together, it's done. Okay. Anybody else? Well, thank you for your time and for your attention. Thank you for having me.